The last few years when I was introduced to mindfulness, I said, I'm seeing the benefits. Why not? And there's a lot of research to support. But I was a little reluctant to say how they perceive me as a professional bringing mindfulness meditation to my patients. So I selected one or two patients as a sample to see what the benefits are. And that's amazing. So when you combine our modalities of treatment with meditation, the effects were very profound and the side effects were very minimal.
Friends, without an ado, let's get into the actual topic of the day, that is neuroscience of mindful meditation. And to talk about this topic, we have the expert speaker today from St. Louis, Dr. TK Parthasarathy sir with us. It's a great honor to have him on our platform. Namaste, sir. Welcome to the session. Uh,
Namaste. Thank you. Yes.
yes. So, to give a brief introduction about him, he is rooted in Mysore in India, and he was deeply raised in an education and service background. And after completing his studies, he pursued his master degree graduation in United Kingdoms, and then he did a PhD in auditory neuroscience at the University of Texas at Dallas. So for over 3 decades, he has been serving as a professor at Southern Illinois University. And there he has conducted a lot of research along with his students on hearing and brain function. So along the side of his academics, he also founded and operates the Better Hearing Clinic for over 25 years, helping countless individuals improve their quality of life through better hearing. And he was introduced into meditation, into breath meditation 2 years ago by Buddha CEO. And he says that he's very grateful to Chandra sir for that because it has given him a very transformative experiences. And today he still continues the journey of service as the chair of global grants in Rotary districts, combining science, compassion, and community service. He also works as consultant to hearing professionals worldwide, helping them provide the best possible care to their patients. And it's a great honor to all of us to have an expert in the brain functioning talk about meditation. And we have the great combination today with the music meditation and the expert in hearing what music can do to our brain. So let's hear from him. Welcome to the session, sir.
Good morning, good evening to everyone. Again, I would like to thank Prithviji for that introduction, and also Sri Hari sir from Dallas for giving this wonderful opportunity to share what I know. All I will say is I'm also on a spiritual journey, just like you all. I have a beginner's mind, still learning about neuroscience of meditation, and also making a difference not only within my own personal life, but also for the life of others around us. I think we have a tremendous responsibility to bring this more mainstream. That way, more people in the community that we serve will get this benefit. I think I agree with Prithviji that when Lakshmi Madam gave us that such a soul elevating experience, we didn't want to stop that. And there was so much bhava in her voice. And as we know in quantum physics, when the energies are in sync, you're elevated to higher levels of consciousness. So she primed us, each one of us, mentally already to a higher level of consciousness. But the question is, how are we able to continue this on our everyday basis? And that's where our sadhana comes in. And I'm sure Lakshmi ji, for her level of performance, didn't happen instantly. There was a lot of dedication, sadhana over the years. And the question is, can we do that with meditation for our own well being? And the answer is yes. So, with that introduction, let me start with my PowerPoint slides. And I will not overwhelm you uh, with too many slides today. I will just give you an initial introduction to lay the foundation. So the very first thing I will say is, you know, before we talk about the neuroscience of meditation and well-being, there are two different words. One is the very first word is well-being, and everybody, no matter where you are, in which part of the world, we are all seeking for our own well-being to start with, and eventually that well-being leads to your own inner happiness, which is enduring and everlasting. And the good news is, to achieve this status of well-being or the inner happiness, it is a skill, just like Dr. Lakshmi Surya, her performance. She has to do a lot of practice, a lot of dedication. So we are able to acquire the skill of being well and eventually happiness through many modalities. And one of the simplest modalities is through meditation. And as we know, with the pyramid, it amplifies that experience significantly. So that's one piece of the puzzle. So we are able to sustain this by continuous, dedicated, practice on a regular basis. And now the second component is the neuroscience of meditation. And you kind of wonder why all of a sudden we are talking about neuroscience. After being primed for 30 minutes with the elevating, music, we already know what it does to our body and mind. Why do we need neuroscience? Right? So I will answer that question very briefly as we go along. And also mindfulness. Again, it is a new word. And again, meditation is something we are familiar with. And people have been doing in India, and many saints and rishis have done this for ages. The question is, why now, all of a sudden, there is a hype on meditation and mindfulness in the western part of the community? Where does it matter? So I think the next few slides would answer that question. Uh, Paramahamsa Yogananda once said that meditation is a science of reuniting the soul with the infinite spirit. So we have the potential to recognize truly who we are. We are not the body, we are not the mind. We are this unconditional love, the selfless love, the divine spark of energy. That's what we are. And everybody is seeking one way or the other, what that spirit is. But some takes a little bit longer. But in that materially contaminated world that we live in, unfortunately, we get lost in the maze. We don't recognize truly who we are. So Dr. Wayne Dyer, an amazing inspirational speaker, once said, "We're all spiritual beings first with the human experience." So as long as we have that alignment, that everything is a byproduct. As long as you recognize you're a spiritual being, and you will recognize as we go along, what does that mean, being a spiritual being? There are many attributes. The all other things is a byproduct. And so I think we had to realign ourselves with that option to experience that we are divine, and let us recognize that divinity within each one of us. Now, to the question of why we need to talk about neuroscience, why does it matter? As you can see, this is just the statistics in this country, in USA. It is really staggering, and it is very concerning for all the health related professionals. The number of anxiety disorders is staggering. It is increasing over the years. Right now, as per the mental health statistics, it is 56 million adults, just adults, not children. And the number of people with depression is also quite significant. And you combine that with other ADHD, post traumatic syndrome, drug addiction, substance abuse, everything is increasing significantly. And the National Institute of Health, I would say it is National Institute of Ill Health. There should be funding, billions of dollars for our well-being. But anyhow, uh, if you look at their statistics, there's a lot of research on different, pharmaceutical, agents, how they're going to help anxiety, depression, ADHD. But unfortunately, the numbers are not coming down. So it tells you something, right? So we need to be thinking about what other modalities of treatment is going to be available, more holistic, the modality of treatment that's going to help many of these patients, put them on track. And I'm not saying that the medication is not helpful, but they need to be thinking more in a holistic way. And then if you want, more significant benefits to your patients, definitely other modalities like meditation is a viable option. Definitely. There's a lot of research to support. And that's where the neuroscience come in. For all many thousands of years, we knew coming from India that meditation does work, and people have done it. But there is no body of evidence, empirical research evidence to support that yes, meditation is the cause, and the effect of that meditation is our well-being, our happiness. So we have neuroscience to back it up. And before you can bring this kind of, meditation philosophy to the Western community, we really needed this, neuroscience backing. And right now we have it. And one of the inflection point for this was the 1999 2000 when functional MRI became available to the medical community. So with that, we were able to see with and without meditation what is happening in the brain. So there's a lot of research post 1999 on the effects of meditation using many innovative technologies, but one of them is the functional MRI. So if I can summarize in one slide, there is a lot of neuroscientific research to show that mindful meditation significantly reduces stress, anxiety, depression, improves overall health and well-being. So there is no question about it. Even though with my background in neuroscience, I was more focused on the auditory pathways and the hearing system, and not until I came to Buddha CEO and the amazing presentations by Chandra Sir and many others, then I was kind of wondering, what was I doing all these years? I was doing meditation, but nothing sustaining. But this knowledge base, that wisdom gave me so much of motivation to continue doing it more regularly. And I not only see the benefits within myself, but also for many of the patients that I see in my clinic who had a lot of ringing, tinnitus in the ear. And many of these patients are so stressed out, they're not able to sleep, they're all on 100 different medications. And once I saw my own personal benefits, how much it was helping me as doing meditation. I was able to bring in meditation to my patients with ringing, and it was amazing transformation in their lives. That's another topic by itself, but I don't want to take away too much of your time on that topic. So it does help, and I am the eyewitness to it, doing it, and there's a lot of neuroscience to back it up, and that makes it, the external validation makes it more meaningful for many health professionals to bring this to the mainstream. So the next question is, what is mindfulness? The answer is, it is such a broad term, but for our discussion, we can say mindfulness equates to being fully present at the moment. You're not in the past, you're not in the future. As I'm talking to you all right now, how mindful I am, how aware I am cognitively about what I am saying, and also at the receiving end, how mindful you are in receiving the information from my end. And also, mindfulness also means observing thoughts and feelings without any judgment. And one of the ways you can practice this mindfulness meditation is just focusing your mind on the breathing. There are many kinds of meditation techniques, and the one that we are embracing, I'm sure, through the pyramid, Omega pyramid, and the Buddha CEO, is the breath, meditation. And I just put this schematic to show us that our body and mind are interconnected. It's a very dynamic biofeedback loop. So the mind connects whatever changes happens in the mind, immediately it translates to our body. If you're stressed out, which is the world that we live in, what happens? The heart level goes up, and then blood pressure increases. So there is that mind-body connection. And the reverse is also true, that when there are a lot of hormonal changes, we can be stressed out. It compromises the immune system. When we do exercise, for example, it increases good hormones in our body. So there is a dynamic interplay between mind and body. So one state affects the other. So what are we doing in mindful meditation? We are focusing our mind. See, it is very difficult when there are so many thoughts and feelings, monkey mind going in 100 directions, to control that mind directly. So how can we control, when I say control it, regulate the mind, maybe a better word. So how do we regulate the mind? Indirectly, by focusing the mind to your breath. So by focusing your mind on your breath, automatically the mind, there is a specific area in the brain which says, okay, everything, your heart rate, your blood pressure, everything slows down. You're not under fight or flight mode. Your parasympathetic system, the vagal nerve kicks in, and then you have a sense of calmness, serenity, some kind of an inner bliss because of that mind-body connection. So all we are trying to do, so think of, meditation is like the bridge between the body and the mind. You're trying to regulate the mind by focusing on your breath. And when that happens, then there are a lot of, as we know, significant benefits to our heart rate, blood pressure, and the overall well-being. So I put this schematic to show you that mindfulness meditation enhances the heart-brain coherence, synchronization. As we know, we already know the brain has got many, many neurons. Just like neurons in our brain, we have neurites, like 40 to 50,000 neurites, in specific areas of the brain. So the heart and brain are connected. So there's a lot of research from the Dr. Roland McCready the Heart Math Institute to show that when our heart and the brain are is in sync, you are in elevated levels of consciousness, you're more relaxed, your heart rate, your blood pressure, everything, comes down because we are stimulating the vagal nerve, which is a part of the parasympathetic nervous system. So when your mind and the brain is not in sync, and then basically you're in a state of incoherence. That means your thoughts, words, and deeds, they are not in synchronization. It simply means that, so your mind is telling, oh, this is a beautiful day, but your actions doesn't show that it is a beautiful day. You say that I love this person, but your actions, thoughts and words, they're not in sync. So in other words, the heart-brain coherence is an index to show how well the heart and the brain is working in harmony. You're in resonance. So meditation is one technique with a lot of research to support. Breath meditation is one of the simplest of the techniques, which increases the HB, the heart-brain coherence, and that eventually leads to less of anxiety, less of stress, in your overall well-being. Again, the mind-body connection, we come back to that. Your inner personality defines your personal reality. So who you are inside dictates who you are in your personality, in your behavior. So let's work through the meditation techniques, kind of a reset our inner, inner feelings, thoughts and feelings of who we are. So basically, we are trying to do that inner transformation is the key, and the way in which we can achieve that is through, mindful meditation. And again, is a body-mind connection. Our inner mental state dictates who we are in the outer world. And one thing I will tell you is we are all seeking happiness, but the question is, are we able to endure that happiness in everything that we do in our life on a regular basis? And our ultimate goal, no matter where you are, for all human beings, is to be happy within, not externally, because our external happiness will come and go when you are attached to the material world. But in the spiritual domain, that happiness, the inner happiness that we are all seeking, is definitely enduring and more lasting. And that's what we are all seeking. And as Patriji points out, mind is the seed and the life is the tree. So that's the byproduct. So let's work on the mind through the breath. And positive and miraculous mind, as we know, leads to miraculous life. So, in other words, your inner life dictates what you are externally in your outer life. And we all know mindfulness meditation brings out the cosmic quantum energy. It flows. That's what we experience today with the music, the first 35 minutes, which was absolutely, mesmerizing for me. I'm a lover of classical music, and it was very elevating. I enjoyed it. And mindful meditation is a very simple method to tap into our divine energy, the universal consciousness. It's kind of interesting. I was looking at the United Nations Summit, September 23rd, where Narendra Modi kind of declared for India, one earth, one family, one future. What are we talking about? Exactly this, right? Universal consciousness. We are all connected. Even this breath, what we are breathing, it's all one breath. Just like, there are radio frequencies, there are all kinds of electromagnetic waves, and even the breath that we are taking is a universal breath, you know? And so we're all connected through the breath. And I really like what Modi ji said. It is basically in recognition of the universal benefits of meditation. So basically, he's saying we're all connected for one goal, that is Vasudeva Kutumbakam, right? It is not, we are not seeking just for our inner happiness. It is the happiness of everybody around the world. I think one of the shlokas in our Hindu religion is Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, right? And this is what it means. We're all praying, not just for ourselves, for the well being of all around us in this world. So I think we're all connected, and quantum physics has shown that we are all energy, nothing but energy, universal consciousness. I think I'm going to skip through a lot of this. I thought I have, okay. I'm going to skip through a lot of this because there was another seminar and I should have put those on hide. I didn't. I'm sorry about that. So, one thing before we get to the basics of neuroscience, some few slides is there are 7 attitudinal foundations. These are the roots that enhances our mindfulness meditation and the experience. And as you can see, and they are patience, let go, non-judging, non-striving, beginner's mind, critical trust, and acceptance. So if you have these attitudes to start with, your benefits of mindfulness meditation amplifies significantly. And then what are the fruits of this 7 attitudinal foundations that we talked about? The net result, the byproduct of all of that, is the inner joy. And these are not just transient, these are permanent, enduring traits. The joy, empathy, gratitude, kindness, generosity, love, compassion, forbearance. These are all the net result of those 7 attitudes that we talked about in the previous slide. But the interesting thing is they're all kind of interconnected. If you use the simple technique of meditation, like what we are talking about, the breath meditation, or it could be just music, or any of the techniques in meditation, it nurtures these foundational attitudes that I talked about. So these are the seats, these are the pillars. So when you nurture those, pillars, attitudinal, the variables that we talked about, also the byproduct of that is the fruits. What are the benefits? The joy, love, compassion, kindness, everything enhances. So they're all kind of interrelated. So let's start with meditation, and then all the others is a byproduct. If you already have truth and compassion, great. Meditation is going to amplify that, right? So that's what we are saying. So all the attitudinal foundational variables is important, but we can nurture that, we can cultivate that for our overall well-being with practice. Now, there are a lot of research since 1999, and if I can summarize this, these are the different areas, technologies, neuroscience, to support how meditation is going to help for our overall well-being. One is the functional MRI. Basically, this is a test where you know uh, you're doing an activity. It's just you go in a tube and they will ask you to do some meditation. They know how the brain areas are working. And in functional MRI, we are basically looking at how the blood flow is in different parts of the brain region. So they know how it is before meditation and after meditation. So in a way, you're quantifying, there is a metric that you can use to show the benefits of meditation. And there are many others like measuring the EEG, the neuromodulation, virtual reality. There are many biofeedback techniques available virtual reality combined with, biofeedback and epigenetics and anti-aging. Again, it's an ocean, as you can see, but I'm going to just touch upon very few related to functional MRI. And as we speak, then we can open up for questions. This is not a class on neuroanatomy, so let's skip all that. Eh, what neuroscience has shown is when you meditate, there are new neurons in your brain, which is a good news. So that is called neurogenesis. So neurogenesis is simply a neuronal activity increasing because of meditation. That's a good news. Neuroplasticity. These neurons, which are new, they're making new connections. Even the existing neurons, they make new connections. So neuroplasticity, neurogenesis is an important component in neuroscience. And there's a lot of research to show when you meditate, we have both neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. And when you continue doing it, that's the key. When you continue doing it, not for 2 days and stop, there is what is called long-term potentiation. That means the neuronal connections, initially they're weak, then they get stronger and stronger. Then it becomes permanent. Then that becomes your new mindset. All the neurons are already wired. We know that neurons, they fire together, basically they work together, right? So, in other words, the way in which you can enhance this neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and LTP, of course, there are many modalities. One is exercise, sleep, nutrition, and when you combine that with meditation, it's going to be very, very significant. Again, uh, when you do new activities, they will tell you as we're getting older, do certain things which is not reflexive. Think of new task, new activity. So what are we trying to do? Basically enhancing neurogenesis and neuroplasticity, and then long-term potentiation. So there is a lot of neuroscience to support that. And this is an important slide. For many, many years before 1999, if at all there is some psychological report of benefits of meditation, it was all in this area, behavioral metrics. They evaluate you, how is your anxiety before meditation, after meditation, and they were evaluating the benefits of meditation on mental health. So they will see how the anxiety is, and again, how your mood is. So they're all behavioral metrics, subjective, and there are a lot of research, psychological research to show with meditation there is a decrease in anxiety, improved mood, cognitive function, and also your stress modulation is much better. But in the last, I would say, 25 years with neuroscience and research, functional MRI, we have many, many other, biometrics that we can be evaluating. One is there are structural changes in the brain. The thickness of the brain areas is significant. Amygdala regulation, as we know, is a part of the limbic system responsible for emotions. So your emotional regulation is better, enhanced connectivity of the neurons, and neuroplasticity. You know what that means, right? So we talked about. And also there are functional brain changes, not only structural, functionally. There are specific areas, in the brain. So they are very much active before meditation. After meditation, there is a decrease in activity. And also your areas responsible for the limbic system in the hippocampus, responsible for memory and amygdala, emotional regulation. There are significant changes. So, in other words, there are functional biometric changes happening with meditation. And of course, there are a lot of neurotransmitter chemical changes happening, in between neurons like serotonin, GABA, BDNF, that is a special kind of protein, and also cortisol reduction. So, there is a lot of neuroscience to support that all of these changes do happen And then there's a lot of research to support it. So there is no excuse for not doing meditation. No excuse to say, well, it's pseudoscience or it is just a gimmick. Not anymore, you know? So there's a lot of research to support. All right. Again, little bit, again, waxing on the same thing that neuroscience. DMN is a default mode network, specific areas in the brain. So meditation downregulates that. GABA is one of the neurotransmitters. There is an increase in GABA levels with meditation. BDNF is a brain-derived neurotropic protein. So with meditation, there is an increase in these levels. So these are all measurable with empirical evidence to show that's happening. So again, the meditation helps to make the brain areas thicker and stronger connections, neuronal connections in specific areas of the brain, and less activation of the mind, the monkey mind areas of the brain, you know? So meditation is gonna calm you down, make you, less stressful, less anxious, more joyful. Again, this is a very simple example of the functional MRI. On the left is before meditation, and on the right side of the screen, what you see is increased blood flow after meditation. Just 20 minutes of meditation. Can you imagine doing it on a regular basis? You know what's going to happen. And of course, there are a lot of, again, this is another one, brain mapping to show the benefits of the meditation. There's a lot of, you can measure also putting electrodes on the top of the head, measure EEG activities. And there's a lot of research to show when you meditate, your alpha wave, beta waves, the gamma waves increases significantly. But what people have shown is if you do this on the regular basis, these beta waves and gamma waves, these are the EEG waves, they stay there for much longer. People, well, like the monks, Tibetan monks, they have been meditating for years. They have gamma waves, which is more than 40 hertz, all day. Even when they are walking, talking, they have these deep meditative states, and these gamma waves are there all day, all activity of what they're doing. But when we do meditation, it stays for a short time. But the question is, can we have these meditative states, what we are seeking, on an enduring basis? The answer is yes. And if you do it continuously, regularly, regimented, we can experience all of these changes permanently. So in other words, it is not as a state anymore, it becomes the trait. So from an altered state, it becomes an altered trait. So it will be ingrained in your DNA. And again, so I will kind of skip through all of this. There is a lot of information. The only other slide I'm going to talk about is Dr. Bruce Lipton's research. There is a lot of research in the epigenetics to show that mindful meditation is going to bring about significant help in the genetic expression. We all have certain DNAs, we have certain genes. We cannot change those, but the expressions of those genes can be changed significantly with meditation. So that's what this slide is talking about. So on that note, I think I will get to the last part of the slide. There's a lot of information, and so all I will say is, in conclusion, there is an overwhelming body of evidence to support that mindful meditation benefits significantly for our overall well-being, for our inner state of happiness. It enhances your physical quotient, emotional quotient, intelligence quotient, spiritual quotient, and moral meaning quotient, our ethics and values. There are a lot of emerging apps available, including AI, that is making it easier and easier for all of us to engage in this technology and get the benefits of meditation. And as always, being a professor, I always recommend books. I'm sure there are a lot of books you have been reading. So book reading is the like the wisdom, words of wisdom, is the shortcut to enlightenment, to elevated levels of consciousness. So the faster E is possible when you do the book reading, but when you combine it with mindful meditation, MM, then that you're reaching your higher levels of consciousness much faster, much faster. It's not a linear anymore, it's non-linear. So these are different books, and one of the books I highly recommend for reading is amazing. It's Altered Traits by Daniel Goleman and Richard Davidson. Both are amazing neuroscientists, and they have written a book called Altered Traits. That's what I was talking about with neuroscience. From altered state, if you continue meditation on a regular basis, long term, it becomes an altered trait. That becomes your new mindset, neuronal mindset, for your overall well-being. So on that note, thank you so much. Again, I'm sorry I took a little bit longer than what I expected. I'm open for any questions, anything at all is all yours.
That was really amazing, sir. Um, Really mind-blowing information of neuroscience about meditation. It really gives a lot of conviction to the practice that we are doing. And when it comes through a professor like you who is into neuroscience, it's like, a lot of confidence in what we do, and we know that we are in the right path. And I see that the potential that you carry in spreading the word of meditation through neuroscience is amazing, because the facts that you present brings a lot of non-believers into the meditation practice, which will definitely help the humanity in a bigger way. So, sir, if you have some time, we have a couple of questions. Can we go ahead?
Yes, sure, sure, sure.
So, sir, the facts and informations that you shared was really amazing. So, a little curious mind from my end is like, I want to really know, when did meditation happen to you at the first time?
Sure. Firstly, I was exposed to meditation as a student in Ramakrishna Ashrama in Mysore. I was a Balvihar student, and then our Swamiji's gurus, after we play at 6:37, they have a meditation session, and then Veda chanting and devotional singing. So I was exposed to that, but it was like a ritual. I didn't understand what it is. It was a monkey mind. I was more interested in music than in meditation. And then after coming to this country, I will say I was exposed to meditation in St. Louis. I've gone through different training, but again, nothing was sustaining, because even though I had a background in neuroscience, I didn't understand how neuroscience, a lot of research, how it is connected to meditation. So I go in and out of doing meditation, but there was nothing sustaining. So I was kind of dipping in here and there, but nothing serious, until I was exposed to Buddha CEO about 2 years ago. And then what they were able to bring in is the wisdom, I think, which is very critical. And it made so much sense to me. And then combine it with apps and many others. So, and the supporting community that they have, you know, ongoing, meditation seminars. It's mind blowing. And I said, there is no excuse not to do it. Now, not only I started doing it 2 years ago, but I started using this holistic medicine to my patients who are, having chronic ringing in the ear. And again, I tell patients that, look, this is something I have benefited. You have tried all medications. Why don't you try this approach and see? And it is non-denominational, and everybody will, our patients were able to embrace this fully, and they were very thankful for introducing me, for this simple but very profound technique. Yes.
Amazing, sir. So, can you please share the experience of your patients, like how
Sure.
exactly hearing
Sure, sure. Yeah.
thing?
Tinnitus is a medical term. It simply means buzzing or ringing in the ear, you know? So we get that for various reasons. You can be hypoglycemic and have ringing in the ear. You're very tired and then have ringing in the ear. But they are short-lived. It will go away. But many of these patients who come to my clinic, they have a significant problem inside the inner part of the ear. As we know, we have three different parts, but the innermost part of the ear, there are specialized cells inside the ear. And when there is a damage to those cells, and normally that happens with aging, you know, it triggers a neuronal activity, and that neuronal activity is heard as buzzing in the ear. I would say about 80% of the patients, they have very mild ringing, and when we amplify with the hearing device, they don't hear the ringing in the background anymore because we are stimulating those cells which are damaged. And then when there is a speech amplified with the ringing in the background, the speech is louder, so they don't hear much of the ringing in the background. It goes away. But there are about 10% of the patients that have chronic ringing, no matter what you do. Even you provide them with hearing aid, you provide them counseling, but they're not able to sleep. The ringing is really pretty bad, pretty loud also. And they cannot do normal activity, they can't sleep. So there are all kinds of medications to reduce the ringing in the ear, including myself, even before I was introduced to meditation. So I will say, look, I can do what I can do as an audiologist. I have given you the best technology hearing device. If that's not helping, you got to go to the psychologist for cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and they will do counseling. But that, again, many of these patients, they will say it didn't give much help. So now, the last few years, when I was introduced to mindfulness, I said, I'm seeing the benefits. Why not? And there's a lot of research to support, but I was a little reluctant to see how they perceive me as a professional bringing mindfulness meditation to my patients. So I selected one or two patients as a sample to see what the benefits are, and that's amazing. What happened was I told them do it at least for 4 to 6 weeks and keep a journal on how you're doing each day. And it's amazing, after 3 weeks, every day doing for 20-25 minutes, they could sleep better. What they were reporting me was not only they can sleep better, they were able to regulate the stress levels much better. They're much calmer. I told them, look, this ringing is not life threatening, you know? So just take away that piece. You know what's causing the ringing. It is just the damage to those cells. It is not a tumor. Of course, we work with medical professionals to rule out there is nothing going on. Try this technique and then see. You don't have to change anything. Don't have to change your lifestyle. But try this technique. After 4 weeks, they were able to sleep better. They can reduce their medication. They were on anxiety, medications, depression medications. And over time, they could taper off those medications just with simple breathful meditation. So in other words, we know when you tell them the benefits, but try it out. You're not gonna change anything. Then you make a decision you want to continue. So when you combine our modalities of treatment with meditation, the effects were very profound, and the side effects were very minimal. you know, very minimal side effects, absolutely none. Yes.
Amazing, sir. So you started with the quote saying that from Paramahamsa, saying that meditation is the science of reuniting the soul with the infinite spirit.
Mhm.
So here, the words soul and spirit is not very scientific enough,
Mhm.
but I think the quantum science is getting somewhere close to it. But how
Mhm.
do you see
Mhm.
spirituality getting into the mainstream of science now?
Good point. What I will say is, when you approach spirituality from the scientific point of view, you bring the neuroscience component to spirit. We are at crossroads between spirituality and the science. When you bring in mindfulness meditation to better ourselves who we are, you know so many people might be put away with the concept, we are divine, we are the divine spark of energy. I don't know how they perceive that, especially. So what my approach to that one is to say, we are all seeking happiness. What kind of happiness are we seeking? That is universal, right? So what kind of happiness? Not the happiness which is transient. We are looking for happiness within us, which is enduring, lasting. So can we use meditation as a technique to bring that happiness within? You know, so can we be more compassionate? Who doesn't want to be loving and compassionate, right? So the byproduct of all of this, when we are happy, we are more loving, more caring. So let's seek that first to begin with. When that happens, naturally, the connecting to the higher levels of consciousness, as you said, the spirit or the soul, it's always there. It's just like the coming the sun. The sun is always there. Whether we accept it or not, it's always there. So whether people accept, there is a higher levels of consciousness, there is a higher level of energy, any of those, it becomes, at least in my mind, from my point of view, becomes insignificant. But all we are trying to do is helping them to the next step of what can we do to make another human being happier, you know? So I would say that should be our immediate goal, and also I think most important thing is, and when we talk about mindfulness, is awareness, right? you know it's amazing how many times we do things in our life we are not aware, like the simple act of talking. I say simple act of talking, breathing, it happening, you know and also to recognize that, to give personal attention, mindfulness to everything that we do, not just for meditation. For example, when you're doing dishwashing, or you're cleaning, when you're driving, can we bring mindfulness not just during the meditation for 30 minutes, but everything that we do with gratitude? I think that's what Buddha CEO, they talked about heart elevation. So we are just recognizing that we have this divine power, and can we be more mindful for everything that we have, and then all others connecting to the higher levels of consciousness. It happens, but whether we recognize it or not, it is our own subjective take on it. Yes.
Amazing, sir. So you also talked about the pyramids helping to amplify the cosmic energy. So
Yes.
how do you define, like, how does that help us in the brain or the heart coherence? Is there any connection with the neuroscience with
Correct. Good point. I have been, I myself I have a pyramid hat. When I do meditation, I got that from the regional conference in St. Louis. But I'm yet to see a controlled study, a research study. That will be very interesting to do, to say meditate, no meditation, There are three different, I'm just giving a scenario. No meditation, meditation, whatever, breathful meditation, with and without the pyramid. I'm sure there is a lot of research, but I have not tapped into those. That's another other dimension I want to bring in. I want to read more about it. If any of you have any articles, I would like to read those for my own understanding, bring that, and that makes it that way. When we make a statement, that it amplifies, and if we have a scientific basis, I'm sure there is, otherwise they will not be investing this much amount of, again, Patriji, knowing him, so much of money and energy into it, but I have not gotten hands on that empirical evidence to support that. Yes.
Oh, got it. So now that you know Omega Pyramid, a huge mega pyramid coming up as a
Yes.
meditation center in Dallas. So how
Yes.
do you see the importance of this project and how is it going to make a difference to the planet, sir?
Good point. I think it is a move in the right direction. We have spent a lot of money over the years building temples. I'm not saying we shouldn't build it. That it has got a place. But this is very unique. Having a pyramid that's open for everybody in the world to come in and then experience the benefit of this amazing architecture to themselves is, I think it's very significant, very significant. And I think it is a move in the right direction. We all have the responsibility to bring this to everybody around us, and I think I'm very excited that on such a scale they're doing it. And then one day, I think, I'm sure it'll be listed as one of the must places to see in USA, in Dallas. And I think, I'm sure. But that is that's great. But more importantly, the impact is going to be tremendous. You know, my feeling sometimes I say uh, uh, we should not worry about the numbers. Even one, two-person gets the benefit, and what that person can do is a domino effect, So, in other words, things will come, when the intentions are good, like you all have, when the intentions are good, the results will come automatically. We don't need to go on the social media to say, "Oh, what a wonderful what the benefits are." People will know, people will come, and of course, the divine energy will fall in sync with our project. Yes.
Absolutely, sir. We have Sharma sir also with us on the call. I would like to hear from him.
Sure, sure, sure.
Uh, Namaste, sir. Thank you. Thank you
Namaskar,
so
sir.
much.
Namaskar. So good to see you.
Thank you so much for accepting and giving your time to be here and giving your wisdom. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, so I mean, 3 weeks back, I attended one of the pyramid conferences in Chicago. So
Mm,
they're all great scientists, actually, scientists, researchers. They are all doing a lot of research on pyramids.
yes,
So
yes.
there is a lot of research. They have
Mm,
means they coined a word like pyramidologists. That is
mm,
how much science it has become. So a
excellent.
lot of research is going on, sir.
Yes.
And means so so this so it is going to this it is going to bring another introduce another new dimension. This
Yes.
pyramids will create another new dimension to spread spirituality, meditation into mainstream public. So that will revolutionize the entire earth plane. So with your knowledge, background, and you have a huge role to play in spiritualizing this part of North America. So for that, I want to request you to be an ambassador to this Omega Pyramid project because you can play huge roles, sir.
Sir, I am at your service. Anything I can do. Anything I can do. I'm willing to do it. I'm at your service. Very, very happy to say that this is an amazing opportunity for all of us to make a difference. And it will be a great honor for me to be the ambassador, and I will do what I can. But again, just tell me what to be done. I'll be part of your team, and collectively we can make a difference.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prithvi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I think we have few questions in the chat. Sirisha, can you please pick those up?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let me see. So the first question is asked by Pramod Kumar Chowdhury. What should be the minimum duration of meditation for optimum level of benefit for professional? Can it happen while performing physical work?
Good point. Yeah. Well, I will quote what Patriji has quoted, that if you're 60 years of age, 60 minutes. So that's the minimum recommended, for meditation. So older you are, you have more responsibility for yourself, for your overall well-being. But that being said, the question is how pragmatic, how practical is that recommendation? So what I will tell, especially in beginners, is start even 5-10 minutes, and then there are many apps available. So Buddha CEO, I'm sure Pyramid, and many others. So seek out those apps, the guided meditations. Just follow that. Start small. Incrementally, increase it. I started with 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Eventually, I go 30 minutes, 45 minutes. My wife is wondering what happened, you know but I'm gone. I have select a place, for your meditation, dedicated if you can, for think of this as your special appointment with the divine cosmic energy. This is your special time for yourself. So think of that as a dedicated time, uninterrupted, to connect with this divine energy. That's one. And secondly, when you do meditation, then think about being mindful, being purposeful on everything that we do. As in Bhagavad Gita said, in other words, spirituality is not just for few hours. Spirituality has to be integrated into everything of what we do, right? So that means being kind, compassionate. When I say all this, we don't have to go out of your way. Even just talking, smiling, there are so many ways, everything what we do, interacting with others, we're trying to be helpful for others. All of this will help us to be who we are, elevating us to different levels of consciousness. So meditation helps us to nurture all of this. You're putting some fertilizer to your overall well-being. But once you're awake, you're in that waking state. So let's be mindful of everything we do, and then being thankful for everything we do, and have affirmations every day for everything the good Lord has given us, and that's going to help. Every few minutes, think about what a gift it is for us to be in this, physical being, and to experience, everything that we have. Yes.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you for answering that, sir. And I have one more question. Uh, so one of the participants is saying, as a counselor, I have seen many of my counselees going through a trauma of repeated patterns of pain from their near and dear ones. will meditation help them to heal? Can you please throw some light on healing for them?
Sure, sure, sure. Absolutely. If there is one area meditation is going to help, is when I say well-being, again, people who have issues, health issues, pain, for example. It is like tinnitus, ringing in the ear. This, I will give you that example to make a point that when patients are having ringing, what do they have? They're stressed out. They're thinking, what's going on with my body? What's going on with my brain? They think of mortality. Is that something I'm going to die tomorrow? What's going to happen to me? So it is like a biofeedback loop. The tinnitus is there in my ears, and that's causing stress. More the stress, more the ringing, because you're focusing more on ringing. You're not focusing on anything else. More you focus on your issue, which is in this case ringing, more stressful you're going to be. More stressful you are, more louder the ringing is going to be. See the vicious cycle. So we got to break the cycle. So how do you break the cycle? To tell the patients, look, we have done all the tests to tell you that there is no medical condition causing, when I say that it is not a tumor, it is not a life-threatening condition. So just relax, think about your ringing and say that it's there, but I'm not going to be bothered. I don't want ringing taking over my life. I'm going to control it. How do you regulate? How do you modulate that ringing in your ears? So that means you're going to be more in control of that. How you react to that ringing. So that's going to be important. So meditation is going to definitely bring that stress levels down. Your heart rate, blood pressure, everything comes down because we are stimulating the parasympathetic system. Acknowledge the pain. In your case, for example, if you have a patient, acknowledge the pain. It's there. But also, there are a lot of visualization techniques through Buddha CEO that you can use. These are all visualizations to heal you know, many of these aches and pains in our body. And You're the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you go on the YouTube, there are many, many visualization techniques for healing. But I will say, Buddha CEO, there is an app. And if you're not familiar, I can send you the information. The wealth of information is amazing right in that one app, and I can guarantee you that let them go with the faith that this is a holistic approach. Try it for 6 to 8 weeks every day, and they will be able to manage the pain significantly. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering that, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So I don't see any more questions in the chat box. So if anyone has any questions, please take this as an opportunity. So we have a neuroscience, specialist here. So any questions can be answered. So before we see any questions or hand to be here on this platform and giving us such a valuable wisdom, sir. So this helps all our, meditators who are the beginners and also, who are practicing these meditations over the period of time. This gives us a lot of, that, empowerment for us to, to sit and do our sadhanas consistently. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I think there was
I
one question about, can meditation reverse the hearing loss? At least I have not seen any body of evidence to say yes, it can. But it can definitely, because many of the changes that happens in the hearing system, some are medical. You can have wax in the ear or a fluid buildup in the ear that can be corrected with medication, surgery, or both. But many of the hearing loss that many of us get as a function of normal aging changes, they're not reversible. But the question is, how do you react to that hearing loss that you have in your ears, other than being stressed out? That's the key. you know So other than reactive, can you be proactive on what needs to be done, for overall well-being and also for your overall hearing and the overall wellness. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
So, okay. So, the other question is, what are the possible reasons for a meditator to go off track? Could not able to spend time for meditation.
Well, what I will say is the first question you had to ask is your health important? So let's ask ourselves, if your health is important, then definitely meditation is the one of the easiest way, to take care of your health, overall, health and well-being. Second is, if you want to seek happiness, inner happiness, inner joy, which is enduring, long lasting, then definitely you had to seek, meditation. No, that means people who say they have no time, those are the people who really need it most, right? Because you're constantly, they say that you're always in a rat race. At the end of it, you're still a rat. There is a old saying, So meaning that all of this is going to consume us, including myself. All of this was consuming me. But until the last few years, I had to say, what is that I'm doing? Where is this leading me to? Nowhere. We cannot take away in our education, our wealth, doesn't matter. But what is the quality of life that we are seeking at this point in our life? That's the key issue. If the quality of life is the sense of purpose and serving and basically a better human being. Oh, meditation. I say that this is the simplest but a profound technique to enhance who we are, where we are, to elevate us just being human to a higher level of consciousness. Yes.
Beautifully said, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Sirisha. So we are almost 28 minutes over the time. I really appreciate your patience for taking all these questions. And it was really amazing talking to you. You coming from Mysore with Ramakrishna Mission background and getting into the neuroscience and now promoting meditation and pyramid projects. And now that you have taken up the role of being an ambassador of Omega Pyramid is really amazing. Thank you so much. Your presence was enlightening to all of us. I'm really happy to be interacting with you today, sir. Thank you so much for your time and wisdom.
You. Thank you very much, Prithviji, and all the masters for this wonderful golden opportunity. And please put me in the email link or WhatsApp link. I would like to partake whenever I can on the future sessions that you have. It was very elevating. I really enjoyed the session very much. Thank you so much for all the good work you do. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Would like to see you again in our sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.